the headlines on Christmas Eve. Revellers are out in force to celebrate the first Christmas since all COVID measures were dismantled. Transport operators step up a gear to cater to the festive crowds. And Hong Kong's days of shivering are predicted to come to an end on Boxing Day.
It's the first Christmas Eve since pandemic rules were lifted, and revelers were out and about to make the most of the festive season. There are several celebratory events, including the West K Christmas Fest, where crowds gather to watch a sunset musical performance at the West Kowloon Cultural District. Stalls at the site reported doing brisk business. This vendor, who sells pet accessories, expects her till to jingle all the way because of the size of the crowd. In the city's premier night hub of Lan Kwai Fong, nearby roads were sealed off this afternoon in preparation for the celebrations. But Anthea Chen, director of the Lan Kwai Fong Association, said not all tables in restaurants were reserved because many people are spending the holiday outside Hong Kong now that there are no more travel restrictions. She expects sales to drop by up to 20% compared with last year. But there were some young visitors as parents took their children to Lan Kwai Fong to soak in the festive atmosphere. Merry Christmas! Financial Secretary Paul Chen earlier visited Tai Kwun in Central to mingle with locals and tourists. He said festivals offer a great opportunity to stimulate local consumption.
Welcome. After you graduate, stay here. Yeah, may I offer you some hot wine? Yeah, enjoy. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
We have the best of everything here.
A steady stream of cars and taxis flowed to the airport's drop-off zone as many people chose to fly out of Hong Kong on Christmas Eve. The queue was so long that some vehicles had to be diverted to another drop-off zone. Inside, the departure hall was packed and long lines formed in front of check-in counters. Some parents took the opportunity to give their children a treat. This man said his family and his daughter's friends will travel to Harbin in northern China to admire the ice sculptures. The high-speed railway was the transport of choice for many heading across the frontier. Travelers swarmed the electronic gates at West Kowloon Station, waiting for their tickets and documents to be checked. There are extra train services between Hong Kong and Shenzhen to cope with the surge in passenger numbers during the festive season. In Hong Kong, MTR trains will run overnight to help revelers get home. KMB and City Bus have increased frequencies and extended operating hours. Trams and the Star Ferry will also provide extra services. Maisie Mock, Cable News. A frost warning was in force overnight, but that did not deter cyclists and hikers from going up the city's highest peak in the early hours of this morning. The temperature on Tai Mo Shan dropped to a bone-chilling 4.6 degrees Celsius, but this hiker said it was not too cold, just windy. When dawn broke, frost became apparent on a car parked at Ping Che village near Shanshui. Vegetables were also covered with a thin layer of frost. This farmer said his crops were not greatly affected as he had protected them with cloth. Public hospitals also braced themselves for the cold. Hospital Authority Chief Manager Larry Lee told a radio show that they were prepared for the peak season for flu and COVID. Manpower has been increased, and 18 outpatient clinics will remain open during the Christmas holiday. The waiting rooms in the emergency wards of Princess Margaret Hospital and Kwonghwa Hospital did not appear busy this morning. One man said he had to wait for only around 15 minutes to be treated for dizziness. Kwonghwa Hospital official Chen Tuk-yeon said there was no surge in the number of patients admitted after being attended to in the emergency department, but said 90% of the beds in general wards were occupied. The observatory expects the cold snap to continue tomorrow, but the mercury will rise after Christmas Day. Maisie Mock, Cable News.
13 workers have been killed and over 40 injured in a fire at a Chinese-owned nickel plant on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. 4 Chinese workers were among the fatalities. The smelter furnace was to undergo maintenance, but the equipment still had some metal in molten form, which was mistakenly released, causing the fire. Workers helped their injured colleagues before emergency crews arrived. The fire was extinguished after 4 hours. The handful of functioning hospitals in southern Gaza are struggling to cope with the steady stream of Palestinians wounded by Israel's relentless bombing. The Palestinian death toll has risen to over 20,300, with women and children accounting for the majority. Israel's offensive in Gaza in response to a Hamas raid 11 weeks ago has devastated entire towns and cities. Despite growing calls for a ceasefire to help starving Palestinians, US President Joe Biden said he did not ask for a truce when he spoke to Israel's Prime Minister. Instead, Benjamin Netanyahu told his staunchest ally that the assaults will continue until Israel's objectives are fully met. 13 more Israeli soldiers were killed in the past 2 days, taking the total in the Gaza offensive to 154.
There are no Christmas celebrations this year in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. Gloom has descended on the town in the occupied West Bank. The streets are mostly empty and pilgrims are missing. Palestinian Christians are spending Christmas praying for those suffering in Gaza.
In the hometown of Christmas, this is what Christmas looks like. Children being pulled from under the rubble, displaced families, destroyed homes. And so we hope that the world pays attention to the plight of the Palestinians, to our suffering, and for the need and the urgent need for justice in this land, and the very urgent need of a ceasefire.
The United States has claimed that a drone launched from Iran has hit a Japanese-owned chemical tanker that was on its way from Saudi Arabia to India. The Liberian-flagged MV Chem Pluto reportedly came under attack about 370 kilometers off the western coast of India. There were no casualties, but the ship was said to have suffered structural damage and a fire was extinguished. Iran has not commented on the incident, but Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian denied any involvement by Tehran in attacks on ships in the Red Sea. Houthis in Yemen have targeted cargo ships in support of the Palestinians. Tehran said it should not be accused of actions taken by others.
There was a surprise for patients in North District Hospital. Doctors swapped their stethoscopes for musical instruments to bring some festive cheer to intensive care patients who cannot return home for Christmas.